Referee Willie Horgan, who took charge of the semi-final engagement of Wexford and Kilkenny, is in charge of this National Hurling League Final, which gets underway. Sean Flood. So we have the first sideline ball. And Offaly, as you'll gather, playing from right to left in the first half. Roy Mannion from the county champion St. Rhiners coming across to take this one. One of many young, impressive players, but he's put that straight to Martin Storey. A lot of pressure on Wexford today, in particular, to deliver the goods, having lost so many finals in recent years. Across towards Sean Wickham's wing. Just getting there. Closed down rapidly, however, by Brian Hennessy. And we have another sideline ball. An awful lot of young, impressive players, Jimmy Barry Murphy and this Offaly team in particular.
Yes, indeed, Ger. It's my first time seeing a lot of these players playing in a big game, and it's quite a big test for them today. But I think they're, it'll be interesting to see how they get on. Good ball in there by Martin Storey, and playing against the wind as Wexford are, that's the kind of ball they've got to get into their forward line, I think.
Dermot Prendergast cutting it across. George O'Connor trying to make it his. Winning that first tussle there. Good shot, raspingly in, and Jim Troy forced into the concession of the game's first 65. That was interesting insofar as George O'Connor did well in his individual battle with Joachim Kelly.
Great, tremendous catch by George O'Connor. He's one of his great fortes, and a great shot as well. Good save by Jim Troy. Couldn't control it, but did well to knock it over at 65. But very good start by Wexford playing against the wind.
Jim Troy then not taking any chance. One of the best goal keepers around, I think. Has been for a number of years. And it's going to be the strong Jimmy Houlihan who'll come out from the full forward position to take the 65. Had a disappointing league final last year against Kilkenny. Only scored 3 points in the match, and they all came from frees. So here's a chance to open the scoring. Looks well on its way. Nicely directed by Jimmy Houlihan, and Wexford fire in the opening salvo. Joachim Kelly and George O'Connor. Joachim winning it well. Trying to hand pass that ball forward towards Johnny Dooley. Cut out Dermot Prendergast back there around his own half back line, where indeed he played in last year's league final. Ready to contest in there with Hubert Rigney. Now Brian Wheelahan. Liam Dunn comfortably under it, taking it with the left hand. A little solo run forward, making sure he wasn't going to be hooked. Michael Dignan still in pursuit. Still Liam Dunn, who's made a lot of headway, but can't deliver that final pass. Instead, it's Roy Mannion. Closed down by Sean Wickham, very near the sideline. It ends up, in the end, being a sideline ball to Wexford. So in front of the Offaly subs bench, line ball taken by Larry O'Gorman towards Sean Wickham, but going there across as well was Eamon Sinnott, and just closed down the space effectively for Wickham to have got in a good pass. Larry O'Gorman here has certainly taken his chance since being recalled to the side for the drawn semi-final with Kilkenny a fortnight ago. This, of course, Wexford's third match in as many weeks. What a battle they're going to have this afternoon, right in the middle. So Roy Mannion once again coming across from centre half back to cut this one in delightfully towards Daithí Regan. Didn't add to it. It comes back favourably to him. George O'Connor trying to block his way. Comes out into the centre to Joachim Kelly. Unchallenged, lobbing it in. Ted Morrissey comfortably under it. Gets in a good clearance. Game really yet to settle down, Jimmy.
Yeah, it's quite a scrappy start there, and no one, Wexford certainly have upped the tempo a bit, but Offaly haven't settled into the game at all yet. And I think their half forward line haven't made any inroads at all into the Wexford half back line, and just as they did last Sunday against Kilkenny, that was the dominant line for Wexford. And if Offaly are to get a few scores for half time, they'll need to make an impression in the half forward line.
Johnny Pilkington cutting it well up in there towards Joe Dooley. Coming back out here to Brian Wheelahan, closed down by Martin Storey. George O'Connor in pursuit as well, there with Joachim Kelly. Up into the centre to Roy Mannion. High delivery of that ball by Mannion, and that's a beauty from the middle of the field. Offaly opened their account with that long-range point by the centre half back. Roy Mannion, the scorer. The crowd of about 20,000 here, still waiting, I think, for the real battle of these Leinster rivals to effectively commence. 11 minutes into the match, just a point apiece. George O'Connor waiting for that one to come down, aided and abetted by Billy Byrne. Out to Martin Storey, back in towards George, but overhit, misdirected, and Michael Dignan in any case gets in the interception. Out towards Johnny Dooley's wing, left hand side, the angle shot has tailed away at the end. The breeze swirling around down that particular part of Croke Park. Always very difficult for the players to contend with.
There's a lot of scrappy play again, Ger, and I think what Offaly need to do is try and get the ball in a bit lower into the forward line. They're playing with the wind and the ball is hanging a lot in the air, and I think they should try and bring their full forward into the game a bit more.
Larry O'Gorman to George O'Connor, unmarked, didn't really hit it as he would have wished. Towards Martin Storey, acrobatic leap, denied brilliantly by Brian Wheelahan, recovering however. Half-blocked again, some terrific half-back play here by Brian Wheelahan, trying to set up a chance for Daithí Regan, moved into full forward, trying to turn, and he's been fouled on the 20-metre line. Ger Cush there explaining that there was a little bit of barging by the Offaly full forward Daithí Regan.
That's a better type of ball now into the full forward line. He gives him a chance to get in his hand and turn the full back. And just as he turns, I think he's fouled from behind and earns a very good free. Just what Offaly need now to try and settle him down.
So they can take the lead here, and it's going to be Danny Owens, the team captain, who taps that one over. So it's 2 points to 1 then. Offaly going in front. Well, it's curious that of the 3 points we've had so far, 2 of them have come from frees, one a 65, that one there from the 20-metre line. Martin Storey against Brian Wheelahan again. This time Storey taps it on, brings the corner forward Tom Dempsey into the match. Jimmy Houlihan striking, and they're on level terms again. Houlihan now the scorer of 2 points, that the first one from play. Very well created point, Jimmy.
Yeah, next very good ball again across the road towards Jimmy Houlihan, who's very good at always coming out and collecting the ball. Under pressure here from the full back, but he turns him very well, and a good shot, a good score over the bar.
Back in the centre, Liam Dunn standing his ground at centre half back, up towards Eamon Sinnott. In a chase over there with Roy Mannion. Wickham coming out, trying to make it a little bit more difficult for the centre half back. Stalemate just momentarily. Eamon Sinnott trying to pick that ball up. Wickham towards Jimmy Houlihan. Play really is quite scrappy. Michael Dignan, the goal scorer against Tipperary. Liam Dunn gathered that with some ease. Up towards Eamon Sinnott. Doing a little better now against the centre half-back Roy Mannion. Brian Hennessy. Again, it's Liam Dunn challenging for this one with Joe Dooley. Comes up to Michael Dignan, trying to restore Offaly's advantage. He's done exactly that with his first point of the match. So just a point in it, and the tempo of the game picking up a little bit more with 15 minutes gone in the first half.
That's an excellent point from Michael Dignan, who has come much more into the game since he switched out to centre half forward.
So, George O'Connor and Larry O'Gorman. Up to Billy Byrne it comes. Wexford trying to press forward once again. Martin Hannamy, ooh, took a high one to the face that time from Eamon Sinnott it was. One of the men in the green helmets. It was Sinnott, the one who challenged. And Hannamy certainly felt it.
Martin Hannamy just about to take the ball here under pressure from Tom Dempsey. Wins a very good ball, gathers it up in his hand, and that's a high tackle by Eamon Sinnott, and no doubt about that, a free out.
It's certainly not easy to put Martin Hannamy down. He's a very strongly built fellow in a very young defence. He's the oldest member of that defence, aside from Jim Troy, that is, and he's only 25. Billy Byrne leaving it there for Liam Dunn. Up towards Eamon Sinnott again. He really has been excelling in the last couple of matches at centre-half forward. Dignan dropping it in towards Daithí Regan. Danny Owens contesting as well. Comes out here towards Mark Corrigan. Trying to make an angle for himself. Sharply driven and put over the bar. So now the entire full forward line for Offaly has scored. Mark Corrigan getting off the mark.
That's an excellent score by Mark Corrigan. A very good ball again in by Michael Dignan. Mark Corrigan is in that situation. He never misses. It's an excellent find.
Dermot Prendergast dropping that one down. George O'Connor reading his intentions. Driven well up into the corner. Sean Wickham having a lot of work to do, but unable to keep the ball in play. Joachim Kelly winning the duel there against George O'Connor. Advancing by 10 metres. Good solo run. Looking for the last shot now. Half stopped by Sean Flood. Good call by Ted Morrissey, the goalkeeper, who came and gathered towards Dermot Prendergast's wing over there with Hubert Rigney. Liam Dunn again. He's having a marvellous match. Sean Wickham bidding to keep that ball in play. Did so successfully. Now Michael Dignan exerting more and more of an influence on the contest around the centre of the field. That's Johnny Pilkington. Met inside there. It's a brilliant goal. Daithí Regan got the final touch after Pilkington delivered the pass inside. A lovely piece of wrist action, and Offaly get the opening goal of the match.
That's a great ball in again by Michael Dignan. Drops him around the square, and it's there. Daithí Regan pulls in the air and buries it in the back of the net. It's a tremendous goal.
Martin Storey on his left-hand side. A cross intended for Dermot Prendergast. Instead, it reaches Roy Mannion again. Tapping it neatly outside. Johnny Pilkington brilliantly blocked down by Billy Byrne. Runs on to Eamon Sinnott, trying to link up and successfully links up with Jimmy Houlihan. Outside towards Martin Storey. It's just tailing in. A nice point. A measured build-up. For a moment there, I thought they were going to take a little bit too long with the build-up, but in the end, Storey pointed brilliantly. George O'Connor outside to Danny Owens. Danny, one of the great campaigners, denied space over there, but recovers well. Player who picked up 2 All-Ireland medals in 81 and 85. It runs on neatly to Michael Dignan, and it's over the bar. That's a second point of the match for the St. Rynagh's player. It's going very nicely from Offaly's point of view. Offaly, the county, yet to win this trophy. 8 points to 3 at this stage, or 1-5 to 3 points. That's a good call by Joachim Kelly. Billy Byrne, however, prodded it forward as far as Martin Storey. Just misdirected on this occasion, despite the best efforts of Sean Wickham to try and contain that ball. Well, we talked about the quality of pass going into the inside forward line for Offaly. What about the Wexford supply, Jimmy?
Well, I think that was definitely a case where he shouldn't have been trying to attempt to score. Martin should have left the ball to the full forward line and try and generate a bit of pressure on the Offaly full back line.
Great catch by Billy Byrne. Up towards Eamon Sinnott and Tom Dempsey. It's Martin Hannamy, however, who gets it down to Michael Dignan, the stylish hurler come footballer. It's held up over there by Johnny Dooley, prodded forward by Larry O'Gorman as far as Liam Dunn. Dermot Prendergast winning the battle over there against Hubert Rigney. Roy Mannion, however, covering his lines for his colleague on the half-back line, pursued by Eamon Sinnott. 5 minutes to go to half-time. Referee says play away. And that's exactly what Liam Dunn does. Cross towards Martin Storey. What a great leap in the air. Fine catch. Trying to get by Brian Williams. Lost the hurley. Kicking it forward. Hand passed, I think, eventually up towards the man in the corner there, Sean Wickham. Not a good pass forward, however. Not the most classical of games. Very competitive and quite intense. That's Johnny Pilkington. Over the head of Liam Dunn on this occasion. Jerk Cash, the full-back there, coming out. Eamon Sinnott, well collected. So Wexford have themselves the free. And as always, it's Jimmy Houlihan who comes out to take it. As Jimmy Barry Murphy was making the point a little earlier, this other Jimmy Houlihan, is becoming out more and more towards the centre of the field, and effectively just two men inside in the full forward line. Driven well in, little low, however. Brian Wheelahan bats it out. Sean Wickham picking it up here. Hooked. Doesn't get another chance. Roy Mannion really sticking to his task. Leach. Across it goes to Martin Storey. And Jim Troy is happy and content to see that one go off his stick and up and over the crossbar. Martin Storey takes the credit, his second point of the game.
Yes. Pretty good ball across by Sean Wickham. Martin Storey, who looks to be the most threatening of the Wexford forwards at the moment, turns and hits an excellent point over the bar. Jim Troy was under a bit of pressure and he just let touch off his hurley over the bar.
Jim Troy, a good object lesson, I think, for any would-be goalkeeper. Don't take chances. Jimmy Houlihan out now in the middle of the field with Johnny Dooley contesting in that ball. Tom Dempsey towards Eamon Sinnott. Trying to find his best form in this match so far. Sinnott denied space, kicking it outside. It was intended for Dermot Prendergast. Michael Dignan, a neat pick-up. So Danny Owens then in full flight for Offaly, and just as we say it, he tumbles over the legs of Larry O'Gorman. It was quite accidental. The referee correct. The referee has allowed a lot of good advantages in this match. That's George O'Connor up into space towards Eamon Sinnott. Couldn't hold it. Roy Mannion coming across. Sean Wickham attempting to make that his. A fine call by Hubert Rigney. Up towards Daithí Regan, the full forward, takes an injury. It runs outside to Johnny Dooley. Regan is still injured as Dooley puts in this shot, and it tails to the right for Offaly's sixth wide of the first half, and 28 minutes gone in the half. Regan, the goal scorer, just picking up an injury, and Pádraig Horan is in very quickly just to attend to the number 11, who's operated with considerable effect on the fringe of the square.
It's been a very successful switch, Gerard, for Wexford, for Offaly, to centre forward and full forward. And Daithí Regan came out to this ball here, but unprotected, even if it open to a challenge from the Wexford backs. I think he takes a bit of a heavy tumble, knocking the head there. But I think he's okay.
Martin Storey brilliantly caught to George O'Connor, 65 metres out. The distribution up towards the man in the corner, Sean Wickham, but he has a bit of work to do to keep that ball in. Pursued over there by Brian Hennessy, turning. Hit inside towards Eamon Sinnott. Hurley flies through the air, and in the end the ball is cleared out. Shane McGuckian doing well at full back. Dermot Prendergast again. Well stopped. Comes out to Jimmy Houlihan. Closed down momentarily, still going forward. Ball played inside to Billy Byrne. Hooked by Brian Wheelahan. Denied space, and in the end it's Roy Mannion who clears his lines. We're inside the last minute of what's been a very competitive first half, quite intense, but the hurling has certainly lacked a bit of style. Niall MacDonald. Chased over there by Joe Dooley. Got in his clearance. Dropped by Billy Byrne. Closed down by the man in the middle there, Johnny Pilkington. A good call there from the man at left corner back, Paul Bridges for Wexford, up to Dermot Prendergast. George O'Connor calling for it. Trying to supply the ball inside, but that's a poor one. Roy Mannion, unchallenged. Driven way down the field, and he's just put it wide, so near to being his second point of the match from a ferocious distance out.
That was a good effort there from long distance, but I think overall Wexford have been over-carrying the ball and trying too many hand passes. It's been a scrappy match so far. There's been a lot of handling errors, and I think both Wexford would be better off if they tried more direct hurling and try and get the ball into the full forward and a bit faster.
And as we're into injury time, Wexford have made a change in their forward line. Sean Wickham has been replaced. He didn't score in the match. And John Conran, the former halfback, has come in at left corner forward. Well, that will be something to look forward to for the second half, to see how that materialises. He played, that's disappointed Sean Wickham leaving the field. Conran played against Kilkenny also came in as a sub and didn't hold his place for the next match. But he's now got 30 minutes to look forward to, see what kind of a contribution he can make. Roy Mannion hitting this one from his own 65-metre line, and Mark Corrigan is powerless to keep that ball in play. The half-time whistle has sounded by Willie Horgan. Generally speaking, I think the fans here at Croke Park would look for a bit more style and panache from these two final teams. The only goal of the first half came 10 minutes before half-time. Dáithí Regan adding to a brilliant ball inside and finishing it into the corner of the net. And at half-time, it's Offaly who go in the happier because they lead by 1-5 to Wexford. So just at the start of this second half, we can give you one statistic from the first. Of the first 30 minutes, there were 23.5 minutes of actual play. All the scrappy play, it must be mentioned at that. A switch in the Offaly forward line, who shows Johnny Dooley gone into the corner and Danny Owens moved out into the half line. 1-5 to 4 points then at the start of this second half. Offaly the leaders. Roy Mannion, not such an impressive first 30 minutes. Danny Owens wanting Joachim just out of his way. Get a bit of latitude. Cross towards Mark Corrigan's corner. It runs on well for Joe Dooley. Softly hit that one, unfortunately. And it's easy for Ted Morrissey. Really good clearance by the goalkeeper. Down to Eamon Sinnott. Getting the measure that time of Roy Mannion. On towards Jimmy Houlihan, who had a strange kind of first half. Didn't really influence matters very much, unlike George O'Connor here. On towards Tom Dempsey's corner, broken up by Roy Mannion again. What a great centre half back this fellow is. Able to play centre half back or out on the wings as he was there.
I think Jimmy Houlihan, they're over on the midfield again. I think in the situation Wexford are in 4 points behind, playing with a strong wind. I think they need to get him in around the edge of the square where his bulk and his scoring throws would be better use.
So Martin Storey to line up this sideline cut. It's probably the poorest sideline cut we've had so far in the match. Liam Dunn here. Kicking that ball out, intended for George O'Connor. Runs on towards the aforementioned Jimmy Houlihan, blocked on by Brian Wheelahan. Still trying to make some ground. He's fouled. Free in for Wexford, and Jimmy, I presume, will be the taker. Jimmy Houlihan's scoring figures from the first half, 2 points. So Wexford trailing by 4 points, and the referee just holding up the play momentarily because there's an injury to one of the Offaly backs.
Joachim Kelly, I think, got a knock in the head there and just needs a bit of attention. Looks like he'll be all right and able to play on.
What about the referee in that first half? I thought he did a very good job.
He did indeed, Gerard. It wasn't easy because it was a very scrappy game. There was a lot of pushing and shoving and blocking down. But I think in fairness, 23.5 minutes of continuous play, he did very, very well to keep the game going.
So Willie Horgan then wants the officials off the field. The free to be taken, and Jimmy Houlihan just stealing a yard or two. The win now at the backs of Wexford for the second half. Martin Quigley's team tried to peg back that 4-point gap. Houlihan the free taker. It sails over the crossbar for his third point, and there's just a goal in it. 1-5 to 5 points the score. That's the first point of the second half. George O'Connor again. George that time adjudged to have been leaning in on top of Joachim Kelly. So it's a free for Offaly. Billy Byrne hoping that he'll be able to exert a greater influence on the trend of this match for the second half period. Meanwhile, Roy Mannion ready to take the free, 65 metres out. Looking for Offaly's first score in the second half against the wind, and that's gone to the left. 9 wides in all now for Offaly in this match. Ted Morrissey's puck out. Wind assisted down towards Martin Storey. Challenging over there with Brian Wheelahan. Tom Dempsey has discarded the helmet for this second half. Liam Dunn now racing onto this one against Dáithí Regan. Fouled by Regan. Well, he'll take a lot of credit for that fine goal after 20 minutes of the first half. So Jimmy Houlihan then coming out to take this one. Right in the centre of the field and about 47 metres out. Well within his range, and he's put it over the crossbar. Well, now he's improved on his tally in last year's final, and he tries to G up his colleagues here. Eamon Sinnott here is having quite a duel with Roy Mannion at centre-half back. We talked about that in the opening 30 minutes. Martin Quigley was telling me during the week that he rates Sinnott very highly. Dermot Prendergast bats that one down into space. Brian Hennessy trying to come and gather. A real pile-up. Hubert Rigney. The referee saw a foul by one of the Wexford forwards, so it's a free to Offaly. And once again, the centre-half back, Roy Mannion's coming across to take it. So many of these Offaly youngsters have come through successful minor and under-21 teams in recent times. In fact, it's Brian Whelan who's decided to give Roy Mannion a bit of a rest. Cross towards Dáithí Regan's wing. Runs on towards Joachim Kelly, 45 metres out, trying to get by George O'Connor. Out it goes to Mark Corrigan. Driven in towards Dáithí Regan, 20 metres out, batted outside towards Joe Dooley. Tussling over there with Sean Flood. Sean Flood is a son of Tim, who wore the Wexford number 12 jersey when the Slaney-siders won their first league title in '56. Martin Storey trying to win their fifth one in 1991. Cup inside to Billy Byrne, 45 metres out, trying to go around Johnny Dooley, succeeding into Martin Storey again, left-handed, easily gathered however by Roy Mannion. Off it goes towards Danny Owens. A call there by Michael Dignan, who had such a good first half. A well-delivered ball in towards the fringe of the square. Joe Dooley going across there with Sean Flood again. Mark Corrigan putting in a challenge, but it's Flood who gets it out, not too far. Joe Dooley turning on his right-hand side. Offaly looking for their first points of the second half, and that is their second wide. 10 wides in all now. That's the second in this second period.
Well, sure, it's a very low-scoring game, and I think both sets of forwards are hitting a lot of very bad wides. The sound of striking in both teams in particular have been very poor, and neither side has dominated the game at any stage.
George O'Connor beating Joachim Kelly to it. A cross intended for Dermot Prendergast, brilliantly cut out by Hubert Rigney. Going on a little solo run, considering a pass forward, continuing that run deep into the Wexford half. Outside towards Joe Dooley it goes. Paul Bridges trying to close down the space afforded to him. Ted Morrissey coming, gathering. Taking it by the challenge there of Danny Owens. Into the centre. Billy Byrne going up there with George O'Connor and Dermot Prendergast, but in the end it breaks down to Johnny Pilkington of Offaly. On his left-hand side in towards Dáithí Regan, getting there with Ger Cush. Niall MacDonald. Sean Flood having some work to do to get onto that one. In the end, it falls favourably for Johnny Pilkington. Danny Owens with a lovely pick-up, about 30 metres out, hooped splendidly. Over there by Billy Byrne, recovers, looking for a bit of support, finding it from Michael Dignan, and that's the first point for Offaly in the second half. Dignan with his third score of the game. He's a very impressive player.
That was a good ball out there by Danny Owens to Michael Dignan, and again, takes his time, and that's a very good score. He's been the best player for Offaly today, I think.
So a goal separating the teams. Offaly continuing to be the leaders, but under a fair bit of pressure. Wexford with the wind at their backs for the second 30 minutes. Brian Whelan impressed so much in last year's Leinster campaign, in what was his first full season in the Offaly senior colours. That's Johnny Dooley from outside his own 45-metre line. Niall MacDonald makes a very good catch, and he loses it, and it's gone by off the forward. The back's rather grateful to see that one going out and harmlessly wide.
Again, I think that's the kind of ball that Offaly need to get in lower to their forward line. They're trying to get scores inside against the Wexford full back line if they can get the right kind of ball in, but it needs to be sent in a lot better than that.
So the team captain, Ted Morrissey, with the puck out. Billy Byrne trying to gather. Runs on to Dermot Prendergast. Trying to go by the challenge of Hubert Rigney. Just splattered a little bit of freedom in there. Hand passed inside. George O'Connor maintained the hand passing movement outside to Martin Storey. Now can he complete the movement? It's gone over the bar. There were about 3 hand passes right across the face of the goal before it eventually reached Martin Storey, and he got the 3rd point.
It's a traditional Wexford score. A lot of hand passes, as you said, Ger, out to Martin Storey, and he's been quite impressive when he's got chances, and again took an excellent score there.
Meanwhile, have taken the opportunity of making a change, and Billy Dooley has come into the team, and Mark Corrigan of Kinnity is the one who's gone off. So each side then having made 1 change in the forward lines from their starting formations. That's Brian Whelan, half blocked down by Tom Dempsey. Martin Storey, and he got 3 points in the match so far. Ball was touched on the ground, and Willie Horgan nipping in quickly. And in fact, he's going to throw the ball in. A disappointed Mark Corrigan looks on. And while all that's happening, it's gone over the bar, and it's John Conran who's put it over the bar. The sub who came on has got his 1st point. So now 1-6 for Offaly, 9 points. Wexford 8. Wexford, I think, got the 1st point of this match. They laid in the first couple of minutes, but since then it's been mostly Offaly. Wexford trying to claw their way back into it. Now Danny Owens on a good run and a dangerous move here for Offaly, kicking it in, but into the side netting. So near and yet so far. Daithí Regan holds his hands in his heads that time.
That's a good ball in there. Danny Owens did very well to get it under pressure. Niall MacDonald actually came out to collect it here. Robbed by Danny Owens. Comes onto, now runs onto a good ball and gathers it under a lot of pressure. He tries to go through the defence here, but he's taking a few steps with it under pressure, heading towards the goal line. I think he's going to try and kick it. Whereas in fact, he might have tried to pass it across the area where Daithí Regan was waiting, but unfortunately under pressure he kicked it wide.
George O'Connor again trying to pick this ball up. Johnny Dooley working beaverishly hard in the centre. Joachim Kelly likewise trying to go by Sean Flood. Tapped forward by Brian Whelan, seemed to have picked up an injury as he was playing that ball forward initially. And the man lying down needing attention is Joachim Kelly. We mentioned clean catches just a moment ago. Our statistics show that Wexford lead in the clean catching department by 13-4. That's in all sectors of the field. Well, Joachim is one of these players. It would take more than a little injury to keep him down. Always tremendously fit. This humid afternoon, he's decided to discard the helmet. So a free then, which Johnny Dooley is preparing to take. Stopped by Ted Morrissey. It's gone in! The 2nd goal for Daithí Regan. He scored the first after 20 minutes. This latest one has come 18 minutes into the 2nd half. Well, there will be questions, Jimmy asked, about the defence on this occasion.
Dangerous free in by Johnny Dooley, but Ted Morrissey, I think, might have tried to catch that ball, but he actually knocked it out of his hurley. And straight up Daithí Regan, who was well handed, the opportunist goal.
Waiting for it down there. Billy Byrne, another player to have discarded the helmet. Eamon Sinnott, what a goal would do for Wexford at this stage in the match. Sinnott, can he supply it? Closed down, very near the end line. Ball stays alive, and finally it's Martin Hannamy who whips it out, aided and abetted by Brian Whelan. Cross towards Danny Owens' wing. A sense of urgency now being illustrated by Larry O'Gorman, going forward with great menace. Ball comes back out, however. Prendergast right across the face of the goal, out by Shane McGuckian. Offaly living dangerously in these last couple of minutes. Finally, out it comes into the centre here too. Johnny Pilkington. A long relieving ball up into the corner towards Billy Dooley. Part of the great Dooley clan. Great turn initially. MacDonald does well to get back goal side, denying that little bit of space. And what about Liam Dunn here? Fine little player. Up into the centre towards Eamon Sinnott. John Conran trying to turn it back into Sinnott. Sinnott passes outside to Tom Dempsey. Can he supply the vital score for Wexford as they need the breakthrough? Kicking it in, closed down. Eventually it's Jim Troyer comes out from his goal. All this while Michael Duignan has been attended out of shot up at the other end as Brian Whelan plays that ball forward. Up as far as Daithí Regan, the 2-goal hero. 8 minutes remaining. Across towards Johnny Dooley's wing. Offaly coming raiding once again. The referee says play on, and in the end it's Paul Bridges who gets in the clearance. Up to Dermot Prendergast. Prendergast there against Hubert Rigney. One of the finds of the season this year for Offaly hurlers. Offaly beaten by Down in March in Division 2 of the league. At that stage, not too many people thought they'd be playing in the final, but they've done well ever since. A string of impressive victories. John Conran across, Jim Croy coming from his goal, making the save. Out into the centre. That's good goalkeeping because he noted that Michael Duignan was unmarked, but Duignan couldn't take the pass. He goes by Liam Dunn. Players to aim at. Second chance for Michael Duignan as he rounds Flood. Crossing the 45-metre line. Michael Duignan still up towards Dáithí Regan, holding on to it somehow and dropping it down. Well, it's all very, very scrappy. In the end, it comes out here to the waiting Larry O'Gorman. Both sides can play an awful lot better than this, and indeed will have to do so with the championship just around the corner. Wexford's first championship match is in a fortnight's time down in Kilkenny against Laois, as Tom Dempsey sends it into John Conran, and it's gone over the bar. His second point. John Conran then giving Wexford some hope.
That's a very good point by John Conran during a good cross by Tom Dempsey as well. But really, some of the hand passing is ridiculous. Players are hand passing totally for the sake of when they could be using much more direct hurling and putting pressure on the opponents. But they're hand passing for the sake of it, and it seems ridiculous.
Well, Wexford have made another change, and the player who's come in is Dave Guiney. We'll tell you about the player who went off very shortly. Liam Dunn. Again, trying to dominate and try to set up a scoring chance here. George O'Connor down towards Jimmy Houlihan, and it goes harmlessly wide. Offaly 2-6, that's 12 points. Wexford 9, 3 between them. At a critical stage in the match with 6 minutes remaining. Dermot Prendergast was the one who was taken off the Wexford attack. Dave Guiney, the player, has come on. He's a cousin, by the way, of the journalist Dave Guiney. Now, Joachim trying to seal this match, and Wexford's first league victory. Chased all the way by Larry O'Gorman, who's given it away, gifted it indeed to Liam Dunn. Down towards Dave Guiney. Couldn't get a clean pull on that one. Johnny Pilkington, the Fitzgibbon Cup player. Wheelahan trying to set up another attack. In the end, it's Flood. Outside to Story. Several players have had their minutes in this match. Martin Story among them. He scored 3 points in all. Dave Guiney getting by the challenge of Wheelahan. Tom Dempsey adding to it into the centre. And that's a good tap out by the cornerback there, Brian Hennessy. As always, Offaly grouping well, playing well as a unit. Joe Dooley trying to nurse that one and keep it away from Larry O'Gorman, but the pressure will be back on the Offaly backs very shortly.
Again, I think Offaly put a lot of pressure on themselves, overdoing the short passing game. When a more direct ball into the forward line might pay better dividends.
So a tight finish in store here. Joachim Kelly against John Conran. Eamon Sinnott seemed to have fouled Joachim Kelly, but the referee says play on Johnny Dooley. And Danny Owens doing his best to try and keep that ball in play. No such luck. Brendan Kelly has just been brought into the Offaly team. He's been given the little slip of paper to Willie Horgan. Roy Mannion going back trying to clear his lines. Brendan Kelly has been told by Willie Horgan, off you go, because I'm not ready to take that little slip of paper just yet. Well, here he is now. He gets his chance to come in and join the action with just about 3 minutes remaining. Player who figured in league and championship last season with Offaly. Joe Dooley is the one who's gone. Didn't score in the game. Meanwhile, it's Jimmy Houlihan with the sideline cut. Wexford needing scores. And that one has gone wide. Wexford with 11 wides in all in the match. Offaly with 13. It's a telling statistic, and I think Kilkenny, waiting in the wings in the championship, well, might feel a quiet satisfaction at the end of all of this. Jimmy Houlihan battling in the middle of the field there with Shane McGuckin. Liam Dunn tried his heart out. Johnny Dooley sees that one intercepted by Sean Flood. On to George O'Connor it runs. High up into the air, supplying the ball down for Tom Dempsey. Can he get the vital score? Batted away brilliantly, however. And once again, it's Roy Mannion taking it out of the danger area. 2 minutes remaining. Remember, it's 2-6 to 9 points. 3 between them. Mannion kicking that ball forward towards Johnny Dooley. Stopped by Sean Flood. Once again, the pile-up over there. But Dave Gagne trying to take it out of that ruck of players. And eventually, it's Roy Mannion who turns it back in. Up towards Billy Dooley. Stopped by Liam Dunn. Michael Digney getting in the shoulder. Larry O'Gorman now trying to keep the momentum of this game going. Wexford have lost it a bit in midfield in the second half. Now Story trying to take the initiative once again. Wexford needing that goal to get on level terms. Dooley beaten by Sean Flood. Now Jimmy Houlihan turning it back into the middle to George O'Connor. Fouled and the free in.
Really, Wexford need to be a lot more direct in their play. They're still hand passing around the middle of the field when they need to get the ball quickly into the forward. They need a goal badly at this stage.
A goal will put them on level terms, but time is running out. On my watch, about 1 minute and 25 seconds remaining. Jimmy Houlihan taking the free, and that's one back. It's over the bar. A point by Jimmy Houlihan. 5 in all for him this afternoon, but is it to be enough?
It's a very good score by Jimmy Houlihan at this stage. At least he keeps the pressure on Offaly, and any balls coming around, they're going out, they're going to have their hearts in their mouths in the last minute.
2 points the margin. Johnny Pilkington in the centre there, battling with Martin Story. Possession now vital. So near to being a sideline ball. Shane McGuckin there under pressure, gets in a pass inside, intended for Dooley. Instead, it's MacDonald who comes out with it. At the second attempt, picking it up here. Niall MacDonald, way downfield towards Tom Dempsey. Stopped brilliantly, however, by Martin Hannamy. Offaly looking for their first league title. Wexford looking for their 5th, their first since 1973. That's Johnny Dooley outside into the corner there. Billy Dooley waiting for it. Under pressure from Niall MacDonald. Still under pressure. MacDonald doing well. Back to Johnny Dooley. Can he get in the pass? Can he get in the shot? And Ted Morrissey gleefully watches that one sail harmlessly wide. Getting the pucking out stick ready. 15 seconds to go on my watch. Perhaps a little bit more will be added on by the referee for a few stoppages. Joachim Kelly against George O'Connor. George batted it down. Joachim playing it laterally. Picked up here by, well, eventually by Larry O'Gorman. Offaly needing a goal to win the match. Or rather, Wexford needing a goal to win the match. Offaly just needing to hang on in there. Ahead by 2 points, and we're in injury time. That's Ger Kush, the Wexford fullback. A tense and spirited second half. And again, they pile up down there. Tense and spirited it may have been, but it certainly hasn't been one of the more memorable league finals of recent years. On their seats, the Offaly fans wanting the referee to terminate the match, but there's still a few seconds remaining. But we're well in injury time. Willie Horgan then throwing the ball in. Offaly getting a favourable bounce. Danny Owens adding to it. Ger Kush trying to give Wexford one last chance. Everybody seems to be down in that Offaly half of the field just now. That's Tom Dempsey getting onto it, and that's the stop by Jim Troy under pressure, and the referee has whistled, I think, for a push on the goalkeeper and a free out. Damien Martin, the former Offaly goalkeeper, on his feet. He feels, I think, that this is going to be a history-making day yet again for Offaly.
Fairness to Jim Troy there, Joe, under pressure. It was a tremendous save from Tom Dempsey. At that stage of the game, anything can happen. There's great credit to him. He kept his head and won the free, which is vital for Offaly at this stage.
Jim Troy, of course. The Offaly goalkeeper can celebrate. Damien Martin can celebrate. They can all celebrate in County Offaly now. A famous victory for Joachim and his colleagues, having been beaten in 2 league finals in 1981 against Cork and 1988 against Tipperary. They finally prevail, and they win by 2 points in the end. Not the greatest of league finals, but Offaly won't worry about that. They are the league champions for 1991. Their first victory. It's Offaly 2-6, 12 points. Wexford 10. History will recall that it was Danny Owens who captained Offaly to their first league triumph, taking the cup from the GAA president, Peter Quinn. A proud moment for Danny Owens and
This is
Offaly.
yet another chapter in an amazing Offaly story. A league win now added to All-Ireland and Leinster wins.
Yes, I suppose really we weren't expecting the league win so soon. Certainly this year when we set out to, in the league, in Division 2, we set out to get promoted. And anything other than that was going to be a bonus for us. And halfway through the league we stumbled a little bit, and certainly at that stage it didn't look like we were going to even get promoted. But we got the breaks, and we kept getting the breaks, and we now have a league title.
It's the first time that Offaly have succeeded in winning a league. It's not something that we specialise in. We generally, over the years, and this year included, we generally concentrate on the championship, and that we haven't trained really hard for this game. We've trained very little, actually. We've only got together 4 times in the last month, which is very, very small number of times when you consider you're in a major final. But the championship is our goal for the year. It is every year, and if we do well in the league, then it's a bonus, and certainly it's been a big bonus this year for us.
Obviously disappointing to lose the final, and looking forward to the championship with optimism.
We're lucky enough. We got a few breaks after the down game and beat Waterford and beat Tip, and lucky enough we beat Wexford.
Well, you'll be delighted to know now that you've been voted man of the match following that league final. And to make the presentation to you, Peter Ketley, Vice Chairman of Royal Liver Assurance.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Roy, on winning the Royal Liver Man of the Match award.
Thanks very much.
A great game it was.
Thanks.